Welcome back, Rainmakers, to the Crypto Rain channel. I have a special guest here today with a game coming out soon that I'm excited about. I like games, but I'm so picky on what I play. But I am very excited about this one. It's in the MMORPG realm, and we get the special chance to bring you one of the founding creators of this game today, talking about the game and what it's going to be like and what's coming up with it. So without further ado, let's get this party started. Join me, Rainmakers. All right, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Joris, thank you for joining us to talk about your game, Ember Sword. I'm actually very excited about this, and it's been in development for about 3 years now.
I think we originally started some concepts 3 years ago. We've been in active development for about a year and a half now, I think.
Okay, good. I remember talking to some of the other team when you guys were first coming up together with the idea. I was like, oh, this would be amazing. I would love to see this come to fruition. So it's exciting for me that it's getting a lot closer to fruition. Because though, like I've participated in some of the games in the crypto space. They're not ones I tried playing them and I couldn't. They were just not my style. I guess a lot of other people like them. But if this is right, Soon, who was one of the original guys helping put this together, told me it was going to be along the lines of, now I'm forgetting the name, RuneScape.
Yeah, so like RuneScape is a sandbox game, right? Where you can do whatever you want at any time. And World of Warcraft, for example, is kind of on the other end of the spectrum. It's a theme park MMO, as we call it. So you have a very predefined thing you have to do in the game, right? You just follow the main quest line, and then when you get to the end game, you can do dungeons or like then you have a bit more freedom. RuneScape, on the other end, is very open and free. You can do whatever you want at any time. So as soon as you get in the game and you want to go into a dungeon or do something crazy, you could. You'd probably die, but you have the freedom to do so, right? And Ember Sword kind of follows this line of thinking. It's very sandboxy. So as soon as you get in the game, you can basically do anything. We won't present you with all the options because it's probably too overwhelming. But if you're a returning player or you watch the streamer on Twitch and think like, hey, I really want to try that thing, you could. Like, there's very little limitations. Like, do whatever you want. That's kind of the game philosophy.
Fantastic. Now, I guess you shared a little bit about the game. How does this relate? Because there's some tie to the crypto space. So you have a game that's got a sandbox and it's got characters with like swords and other weapons, right?
hmm
And it's kind of a top-down view.
Yeah, it's an orthographic, like top-down perspective, like you'd find in. Oh, I always forget the name of the game.
Kind of like Dota
Um,
2 is that way.
yeah, it's kind of like Dota, yeah, in that sense.
Yeah, I've seen some of the videos of some of the gameplay and it looks really, really cool. So it's
Thanks.
far and ahead of all the other stuff related to the crypto space as far as the graphics and just the gameplay.
hmm Yeah,
And
I think what's really important, like an important distinction between our project and others, is that a lot of the games go crypto first, which makes sense, right? It's a good way to raise funds, and you need quite a lot of funds to build a game. Um, but we're really trying to build a game that's fun to play, but then also has crypto elements that like make the game better. So we're not really actively advertising like, hey, we're a crypto game, come here, you can make lots of money, it's going to be amazing. We're really trying to build an MMO that's really fun to play and for everyone to get into. And then it also has nice crypto elements where, now you can take your items outside of the game, you can trade them for Ethereum, they have a history, et cetera, et cetera.
I love that. I've been looking for games that do this for a long time, especially a game that's fun to play. So there's a few games that have gone bigger, like Axie Infinity, but for me, that type of play style where it's like turn-based,
hmm
not my style. But there
Yeah.
are people that play it to earn in countries where they're very poor there. They earn a living playing that game because, they earn small love potions. And people that don't have a lot of time come in and they're like, oh, yeah, in order to breed my two Axies, I need to buy $25 worth of small love potions. Bam, they just buy it, and that's cool. But it's not a game that's fun to play. I tried playing it for 2 hours straight, and I literally, I wanted to claw my eyes out. And I was like, okay, I like what they've done. They've pushed the space forward, but come on, could somebody create a game that's fun? And so I've, eagerly anticipated your game because it is more my style. There's strategy involved, but it's actually more direct action gameplay. So,
Yeah, it's fully real time, so we don't have any turn-based systems or anything to slow down the gameplay progress because we have to deal with the blockchain.
yeah.
It's first and foremost, yeah, a quick, snappy combat. It's open world as well, so there's some PvP for those that like it. There's PvE for those that don't like PvP. We have things like dungeons. Another important thing to mention, probably related to crypto, is that we're not at all pay to win. We don't do any pay to win mechanics. So any cosmetic or any collectible you find in the game is purely cosmetic. So we have different like classifications of NFTs. So one is land, for example. You can use land to build your guild house upon, for example, or like have a direct access to your bank. You can place things like resource nodes, so you can mine ores that you can then use to craft items again. But that's not pay to win because like everyone has access to those areas. It's in the open world, right?
Hmm.
And then we also have a classification of collectibles, which are basically like a cape or a hat or just something that looks cool, has a finite amount that we mint. So, for example, there's 1,000 of a cool hat. You can say you own number 50 of it. It has a history of how many times it has been traded. You can actually find them in the game, so you don't even have to buy them. You can just play the game, find NFTs, and then if you don't actually want it, you can just sell it, right? So you don't even have to invest money to start playing the game, which I think is a very, very important like side note that doesn't really apply to all other crypto games.
Yes. Yeah, very true. Um, yeah, I'm very excited. Now, are you able to do a screen share with maybe one of the videos that you guys have done showing off the game a little bit?
Yeah, I think I can show you our single player demo, which is basically, oh, sorry, I started already, but the music's very loud. Um, it's um, it's a single player demo we initially did to kind of show our investors what we actually wanted to build, right? Because you need quite a bit of funds to build a game like this, and we didn't want to start doing a crowd sale before we'd even proven anything, right? You don't want to just start selling a bunch of NFTs, raise a bunch of money, and then say like, oh yeah, but we don't have anything. So we actually built, so we built a single player demo. We showed it to a bunch of investors and said like, hey, this is what we want to build. Are you willing to back us? And then as we get closer to actually having something playable, we can start, raising money through crowd sale and so forth. But yes, I can definitely do a screen share and show you the single player demo.
Would love
We're
it.
we're not showing the multiplayer one just yet because it's still in very active development.
Okay.
Um,
This gives everyone a little bit of idea of what the graphics are, a little bit of what the gameplay is, and what the mechanisms are.
can you see my screen?
Yes, there we go.
Cool. All right. So this is the demo we built. I don't know if you can hear the music. It's kind of loud. I could probably turn it down a little bit.
We can hear it. It's not very loud to us.
Okay. Just quickly see. Okay. Um, so you can move around. You can jump, which is also kind of unique in a top-down like game like this. We also have double jump. So we kind of like the idea of not taking the game too seriously, right? It can be a little bit wacky. So like you can um, jump on top of objects, you can get on top of buildings, things like that, which is just kind of like a fun mechanic in cities and so forth, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so if we have a little village here, there's actually some a nice little fishing spot here. So you can open up your inventory, which we have here. You can start fishing, collecting some fish, which you can then eat to restore some of your health. It's kind of the standard RPG mechanics you'll find in most RPG games. And if I walk outside of our little village here, you'll find some monsters. So we have some tap to click action RPG mechanics, really focused on being quick and nimble. And that also goes paired with combat abilities. And of course, we have different weapon types. So this is a two-handed weapon, which I can use to do a lot of damage if I manage to target it right. And this one's quite a lot slower, but does a lot more damage. And as you saw, like one of the dead rabbits just like moved away. So this was built in about 3 weeks, I think, for the investors. So it was crammed together very quickly to kind of get a general impression of what the game is going to be like.
Yeah.
So it's definitely not perfect. We obviously thrive to make it a lot better than this, but it does give a general impression and like idea. Oh, I died.
That's hilarious. That's really cool. Now there will also be some mineral stuff like the mining and chopping down trees and stuff like that, right? For gathering resources to accomplish bigger
Yep.
goals.
Yeah, I think there's some around the corner here that we can mine. Yeah. So yeah, you can collect ores. Everything kind of consists of a gathering, refinement, and crafting phase. So
Okay.
the gathering, of course, is the mining. Then the refinement is turning the ores into ingots or just something usable. And then with crafting, you turn it into a weapon or an armor or a shield or whatever it is.
Nice. Okay. And so then they can make basic level like they can make all the items that they need for like the swords
Yeah,
and stuff they want, but then they can get the cosmetics to dress them up.
exactly. So because we don't have any pay-to-win mechanics, and the cosmetics are like, purely cosmetical, they don't give you any benefit of like more strength or damage or whatever. Um, the weapons that you equip define your base stats, and then on top of that, you can equip like a cool cape, or you can swap out your sword model with an NFT that you own. And of course, you can trade those and so forth. And we'll make sure that you can trade those within the game or outside on something like OpenSea.
Yeah, fantastic. Now, are they going to be then on the Ethereum blockchain or what blockchain?
Yeah, so Ethereum, and we're using Matic as the sidechain to
Yes.
reduce cost. So we're actually we're covering the transaction fees, so players don't actually need to pay anything to send tokens back and forth, right? Because you don't want people to have or to need to buy Matic tokens in order to make transactions on the network. It's just tedious. It's annoying. And yeah, the fees are lower, but like you don't want to like make a transaction and realize you need to buy 2 cents worth of Matic tokens. It's just annoying, right? So we cover the
Yes.
cost on that. Players can just send them back and forth and don't have to worry about any of that. Um, and then the trading structure is basically that we have an exchange, and the way that we actually make money from the game is that we take a small fee on the trade. So, for example, if you um, sell a cosmetic which is worth $100, then we take a small fee on that trade, right?
Yeah.
And we use that money we earn to develop the game and to make sure that it stays alive and pay for server costs and that sort of thing. Um,
Really. And that's the only thing that's the only cost. So they don't have to pay to play the game at all. They can
Yeah, so
earn it.
that's the primary way we intend to make money. We also have a premium subscription to the game, but again, it's not pay to win. It just has some benefits, such as slightly more banking space, which is
Yeah.
often something that people like. And we've also internally discussed things like getting cosmetic once a month. So basically, you subscribe and then you get a cosmetic every month from that subscription. And it's like any other cosmetic, so you can actually do with it whatever you want. You could sell it if you want to.
I love these ideas. You have to fund the game, and everyone understands that. Otherwise, like you won't have the financial incentives to be able to continue to make the game
Yeah.
amazing over time. And so, yeah, that's I feel like a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, and like the industry has really gone towards loot boxes and things like that, and I think I can speak for most people that nobody really likes that. And those like gacha mechanics that came from mobile and now going towards desktop, and it's just, I personally don't like it. Nobody on the team really likes it, and we thought, like, what are other solutions that we have? And this actually, on paper, is a very viable solution to raise enough funds to develop a game like this.
Yeah.
So we figured, why don't we just give it a try and bet everything on it and see if it actually is viable. So
Seems like it'll work out well to me because I've done a number of games that you pay extra to get like extra benefits like banking space and stuff. And if you play the game a lot, the banking space comes in really handy. And what it allows is for people in countries that really don't have that kind of money, they don't have to pay it. And for those that it adds a lot of convenience to their life, uh, it's not a big cost and not a big deal to them. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
for me, I value my time more than anything. So if it saves me, if it's a game I'd like to play once in a while and it saves me some time, for me, like $10 a month, $20 a month, usually I pay that. Other people might not have that kind of money, and that's cool, but it allows me to, like, a prime example of that was a game that I played for a few months just to get a feel for what Ember Sword might be. So I literally played, what is the name of it? Black Desert,
Oh
to
yeah, yeah.
get a feel for a more recent MMORPG where I was hoping that crypto and gaming would come together
Hmm.
along the lines of what you're doing here. And so I played that just to get a feel for it. Um, and yeah, you pay extra money per month there to have essentially more banking space. So
Hmm. Yeah, yeah.
interesting. Now, could you share with the viewers a little bit about your team and how this idea of Ember Sword came together?
It actually kind of started. It started pretty organically. So me and Suna have been friends for a long time, and we were just talking about building an MMO. That was always the dream, right? Because like I tried building an MMO when I was 16 years old. It was my first project making a video game. Total disaster, bad idea, especially if you just starting out, right? And I'd been talking with Suna for like at least 10 years of building a new MMO and trying to do that. And I don't know what changed this time, but at some point he just messaged like, "Hey, I know someone who could help us on the business side, which is Mark. He's our CEO." So we set up a call with Mark and we talked a little bit, and then Mark said, "Well, actually, no, a really good designer um, who worked for really large companies and made some amazing art." So like we looped him in and we started talking and kind of started snowballing, and we made a little concept, and before we knew it, we had the single player demo, and before we knew it, we were talking to investors, and before we knew it, we had a bunch of money to actually develop the game. So it kind of organically grew. It was, yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah. Okay. And I met Suna. Yeah, I've been mispronouncing his name. I was calling him Soon for the last 3 years. Is there any chance you could switch it back to camera view so viewers
Oh yeah,
right
sure.
now are still getting, yeah, the game? There we go. Fantastic. And so that's cool that the right people came together to make this. How did you decide to tie it in with crypto and blockchain?
Um, so we were obviously, I started doing crypto in like 2016, 2015, I think, kind of getting into it and getting interested in how crypto worked. And when we were kind of modeling the idea of Ember Sword, we kind of tried to define some pain points of things we didn't really like about MMORPGs. And one kind of common, I'm not necessarily wouldn't call it a complaint, but something that's just not fantastic about the existing infrastructure is that if you've played a game for 5 years and you quit, you lose everything. Or the game goes down, you lose everything. Or like anything happens, you just lose all your stuff. You can't sell it because it's against the terms. Um, right? And then there's a lot of like black marketplaces. I mean, World of Warcraft, right? People are trading items for what, $50,000, and then getting scammed because there's no security around it on sketchy websites. I used to play RuneScape a lot. My account got hacked. It's like that sort of stuff. It's just frustrating and not really necessary anymore, right? Like you can, if you integrate crypto, you can allow people to trade. It's not even against the terms of service. We're even encouraging it, and it's a means of our income. So like we need the game to be good. We need there to be activity and trading for the game to be viable, right? So there's a lot of like aligned incentives on our side and on the player side. So it just made a lot of sense. um, and we well concepted a lot of these ideas, and we actually have quite a few on them on how we can integrate crypto. Some we're not really ready to discuss yet because like one thing we kind of notice is that if you say like, oh yeah, we have this idea of how we could add history, and then everyone's saying history confirmed, right? It's like everyone's like, yep, it's in the game, confirmed. um, so we got a little bit more careful about what like we share before we're very certain that we're going to add it to the game. So can't talk about all of it yet, but there's definitely quite a lot of things that I think we can do on the crypto aspect that are really interesting.
Yeah. Um, Now you're doing a land sale, right, for some of the land or all of the land coming up? Can you tell us more about that?
Uh, a little bit. I can't really tell anything about specific dates because I like Emil has been working really hard and like organizing everything and making sure everything goes live at the same time. So I think I'd make him very sad if I was to spoil something now. But yeah, we do have a land sale upcoming. It's not all of the land, so we have 4 regions.
Okay.
Each has its own biome. So we have Solarwood, for example, which is like this very green, luscious area that you commonly see in MMOs, right? Then we have another one which is called Duscaron. It's very deserty, like scrappy metal, like think Mad Max. Um, and we have 2 more regions. The initial one we're only selling a part of Solarwood, so it's a pretty small sale in compared to the entire land. One reason we're doing that is because we're a relatively small team, right? And if we start with selling one area, we can really focus on that area, make sure the game is good, fun to play within that area, and then we can expand outwards and sell the rest of the land. So you don't have to wait 2 years before you can actually start walking on your land, which would be very frustrating.
Yeah, yeah. So I like that idea. How's the land sale going to work? Is it going to be run through your website and they like pay with a credit card, or do they have to send crypto? How is that
Uh,
going to come together?
it's going to be run on our website. It is currently Ethereum only based, so you'd have to pay with Ethereum. We might simplify this in the future. We're pretty confident that we're going to sell out the first land sale because there's quite a lot of hype around the project right now, and we have a lot of unannounced things like leading up to the crowd sale. So Ethereum only, like we really want to keep it simple, right? Make sure that we learn a lot and then improve upon that in the next land sale. So this one's just going to be Ethereum only. After that, we might integrate something like credit cards. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, just to minimize those. Well, I guess credit cards have transaction fees too. Ethereum right
Yeah.
now it's like $7 minimum to send anything. Do you have an idea what the parcels might cost?
I can't really say that yet.
Okay, that's not finalized. That's fine. Now there is a link in the description on all my videos, actually linking to the Ember Sword, like announcement about the upcoming land sale. And so, is that where they go? Do they just click on that link really to get to your site and see information, or be able to add their email so they can get informed as that becomes finalized and dates are known?
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure which link you have. Is it just linking to embersword.com or?
It was the one, I can't remember. I got it related to the upcoming land sale. And enough people link on that, it somehow like, does it allow you to be in the open beta? I'm trying to remember. It was an announcement you put out about 4 weeks ago. And I thought, yes, they're getting close to something tangible. And so I copied that link, put it in all my videos. Let me see. I can click on it myself. Give me just a minute.
Yeah, I think if people want to sign up, they can go to embersword.com and make an account there. You'll also get queued up for the public and private beta. So if you're lucky, you get picked for a private beta. Um, and you're also added to the mailing list, so you get updates on things like land sales, for example. As for the land sale website itself, it is done, but it's not yet live. So we'll throw it live like when all the news gets sent out. The site also goes live at the same time.
Okay, this was their chance to win 10 plots of land or
Yeah,
from the upcoming sword. And it looks like that giveaway completed, right? And
yeah, that
Joseph
giveaway
G was
completed.
the
Yeah.
winning entry. Fantastic. Cool. So embersword.com is the place to go, and I will update
Yep.
my videos link with Ember Sword on there.
Cool.
Well, a lot of this is coming together. So do you feel like in the next 6 months that number one, the land sale will probably happen within that time, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah,
And then it'd be playable sometime after that?
yeah. Maybe even before. So we're working on a open beta, which is primarily a stress test, which I kind of want to preface to people. We're not putting the full game out yet. It's mostly just to test the game client because we build our own game engine, so we need to make sure it runs smoothly. Testing the servers, just performance bottlenecks, things like that. Just making sure that everything operates properly. So it's not going to be the full game. Just before people get really disappointed and expect a full game out. But we're planning to do an open beta around summer.
Yeah.
That's about as
Okay.
precise as I can be. Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. So on the open beta, they could join and they could get access to it, no cost, right?
Nope. No
And they
cost.
could play it, and that would help you stress test it. It do things that they earn then when you actually launch into the main game. Everything resets at that point.
Um, that is still to be decided. The thing
Okay.
is, we want to move quick, and when you move quick, you're going to make some mistakes, right?
Yeah.
And that's okay, but at some point we might make a mistake and do something like item duping, right? Like that is a possibility. You could have something where you can suddenly duplicate two items in the game. And then you have to reset because you break the game economy. Obviously not the crypto part, that is completely safe, but just in-game items like a sword and things like that.
Yeah. Somebody finds an exploit where they can make the really really difficult swords, and they make 5,000 of them.
Exactly, right. And obviously you can't do that on the blockchain because that's all completely secure, but
Yeah.
in-game that could certainly happen. And then we would have to reset. I think realistically, we'll probably do a reset of the game when it is done and final, and we have the first official release. Do a reset then, and then start rolling out updates more carefully to avoid things like duping.
Okay. One question: during the beta, will they be able to access any like unique NFTs, or maybe is there a unique NFT kind of as a reward to people who participate in the beta?
We discussed this, but I can't promise anything yet.
Sure, got it. Yeah, so I do want to thank all of the viewers for joining us. Now, I know many of you are just crypto investors, and many of you are also gamers. What I love about games and crypto coming together is how much attention there is there. So even though I couldn't even stand playing Axie Infinity myself, actually from the investment side, it did pretty well because there were enough people that really liked it, and the game blossomed like this. And so it's always a risk, but what I find is some of the early cosmetics or some of the early NFTs related to a game, if the game does take off, completely blossom. And so it's very speculative. I wouldn't even call it on the investment realm. It's kind of a speculation, but it can do very well. And if Ember Sword ends up being one of the top games and catches on across the world at the same time as this wave, those cosmetics could become worth a lot or not. But it's kind of fun, you know. I don't like gambling per se at all because at the end of the day, the house takes most of the money. But speculation on video gaming stuff, for whatever reason, is completely fun for me. And
Yeah,
especially the more I like the game. So I'm really looking forward to this. I appreciate you coming on and joining us today. I know you're super busy as you're getting so close to rollout. So thank you for your time.
yeah. Thanks for having me.
All right. Yeah, love to keep in touch, and maybe at some time down the road, would love to get another update from you guys and do another video call, in a month or two or whenever you have time in that time frame.
Sounds good.
All right. We'll talk to you
All right.
later.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Success is falling. Right, we're getting paid. Come on, remakers, let's make this happen.